And we are back. Yes, we are back. That was unexpected and super duper fun. Really enjoyed that. So we have this combat that happens in the Glitterheim, and
I mean, that's a hell of a name for like a spot to go watch wrestling. The Glitterheim.
Literally.
The Glitterheim Gladiators actually does, like, Gladiator Ring does actually have, like,
God.
like
Got a ring to it.
That's a ring to it, yeah. Haha, let's put a ring there.
Yeah. Okay, calm down.
Jokes for days.
Immediately after this bout between Ghost and Arnon, the dwarves will begin to sort of scatter back to their own duties, trying very hard not to make eye contact with the very pale elven-looking person who's trying to shake them down for money.
Let's take the money.
Don't argue with them. Give them their money.
Don't argue with me. I'll take your money.
It turns out to be very difficult for Namani, who might have a hard time telling these shield dwarves apart, to know who was making what bets, and they all just kind of go back to their work and just kind of very industriously keep their eyes off of you.
Sure, that'll have no consequences whatsoever.
Next time you do a fight, I think we should establish what cut the house and performers get before we start the fight.
I'm not supposed to do betting without letting them know. Fine.
It's not exactly like this is an established establishment.
This was an unlicensed exhibition at best.
So, what is next? So you're in the Glitterheim. It's kind of a depressing place now that you're looking around. Are you heading back in? What's the plan?
I mean,
I got so many rocks.
We should head back in and make sure. And we should head back in. We should see how much of the like if they have any way back to the surface yet, because I don't want to keep using Nightscale's lake. It feels disrespectful at this point.
I mean, I think Nightscale's warming up to us. And as we're starting to head back, Echo is Galvin just walking with us?
Yeah, again, he's being very sort of quiet and not very interactive. Lifelong trauma. It takes a while to work through.
Echo's just keeping a loose eye on him to make sure he didn't wander off.
He's fine.
All right.
It's okay. We actually have a reasonable quantity of hope of future interactions between dwarves and Duergar that does not hinge on them killing each other. Instead, they'll both pretend to be killing each other. Baby steps.
If we all figure out how to stop this thing before the next full moon.
And as you re-enter the forge proper, you will indeed find Barnabas and Sven flanked by a gratuitous number of dwarven guards who look worried and then relieved when they see you.
We have good news.
From what Sven tells me, you have news that we might disagree on its goodness, but I am listening.
We disagree on us surviving contact with the Duergar being good?
No,
wasn't
of
just
course,
survival.
not that part. Of course, not that part.
I mean, we talked.
Calder will look at Sven as faking that he's angry, suspicious and angry at him.
And I actually managed to hire them for a scouting mission to find if there's any underground paths towards the roots of the Colthias tree.
I'm sorry, you what?
I hired them to see if there's any way that we could do a two-pronged attack on the tree from below and above.
Now, okay, that's okay. I've hired you before, and I know that I have recently paid you for your help. How are you finding the funds to pay for an entire clan, an entire battalion of Grey Dwarves to do your scouting for you?
Opening up lines of trade.
Not promising lines of trade. They understood that we couldn't make that promise, but that there would be negotiations. That there would be a conversation.
And they were willing to accept it as a conversation because if there's one thing that they hate more than you, it's creatures that do mind control.
I explained to them what the Gulthias tree is and what it does.
Once again, Barnabas kind of rubs at the scars on his arms.
They have a very similar opinion towards the very concept.
Yes, I suppose they do. And
So, if your Highness can indulge a touch of empathy, how much leeway would you give to someone who is offering to burn that down?
Or possibly find us an avenue of an attack that isn't guarded against.
once again, Echo, your very good intentions just always astound me with how much they want to make me a pariah in the dwarven community. You have to understand that if word of this leaks out, like, for example, and he gestures over at the many, like, knots of dwarves that are excitedly talking about the combat that they just saw, if word of this gets out to the greater dwarven community that I have had... Now, this happened where?
In the Glitterhame.
In a location that I and mine have already secured.
I think I secured the whole Glitterhame because they were just there.
More or less, the troglodytes were entirely happy to move out once we paid them.
I'm sorry, we're willing to deal and truck with troglodytes before we're willing to deal with your cousins.
Yes, absolutely. But once again, I find myself in a position to where the ends must justify the means. If they are able to give us some sort of actual advantage over our enemy, then I suppose, as long as we're at war, nobody's going to move against me. And if it all works out, I suppose... How do you think of these things? Like, seriously, how would you... What would possess you?
I have my own theory, but I let Echo explain himself.
I talked to Tamora in a dream, and I asked her to give me the tools to help. Not just you guys, but them. And the orcs. And she did. I can now speak their language. After waking up from one dream. She's the god moving most obviously in all of this to protect things, to make sure that we have a fighting chance. And if she thinks there's a shot of this, it's kind of in her nature to take risks to get bigger rewards. And I'm just trying to follow that.
Sven shakes his head and says to Barnabas, "This is not the first time that Tamora has stuck her nose in our business. It's kind of what she does. And to be clear, this may be the first time that Sven has even obliquely stood up for your shenanigans in one of these conversations."
Mm-hmm.
And Barnabas once again gets that concerned look. All right. So what exactly did you tell them their payment would be? And try to use the exact words that you used, if you can.
I agreed to negotiate on their behalf for future trade with the Forge.
And they accepted that.
Arnon did, yes. He said that he could trust my word on it.
He's certainly right about that. But how did you convince him of that? Never mind. This seems to be one of those things that I'm going to have to get used to going forward. Very well. Again, this is not my home, so
Yeah.
I defer to your wisdom. Well, we'll see.
Frankly, at present, the decision will lie with Creeth. But that is that said, at present. We'll see what happens in the future, because we can all agree we have bigger fish to fry.
Yes. Yes, and with that, I can bring you some news from the front. We have sequestered all dwarves that know for certain they were bitten by a werewolf. There are several dozen of them, and I don't have the kind of magic to ensure that all of them are uncursed, so I think that perhaps between now and the next full moon, something must be done there.
Silverman.
I have a bit of that magic now. And Echo pulls out and finally puts on the beaded necklace that he has attuned to. There's symbols you can see. There's little suns and little wheat flowers and such on it. It's very much it reads very heavily of the Dawnfather. I have a little bit, but it refreshes every day. So we've got a bit of time to work on the numbers.
You can see him sort of calculating in his head for a bit. And yes, we've already sent a messenger to Silvery Moon in an attempt to contract with some of their clerics to help us with the situation.
Calder will turn to Sven. They have a teleportation circle, and I know its address.
Good. There's one less thing to worry about.
Actually, speaking of werewolves, did Bevan and Matthew and Kevin look a bit wolfish at the full moon?
They were rather chewed when we found them.
I wasn't the only one that clocked that, right?
I just described them as chewed.
I don't, I haven't noticed any such thing.
When they came through the portal and asked us to come help you, they looked furry and a little clawy. Where are they right now?
Okay, so that's one more thing we now have to worry about. And he'll turn to someone. He'll turn to just one of the attendants in the area. Get me Bevan and Matthew. Just bring him here. You are currently muted, M.
Does Vic hear that?
I mean, we're just talking in the middle of the hall.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and say if you wanna shift over to Vic, your other character, we can.
I see what you did there.
Haha, jokes. Fucking jokes.
While we're doing this, just a quick reminder to folks that we are streaming for charity. I appreciate the subs, I really, really do. But that said, I am once again asking them to drop the link to the charity.
I will do that in a
chat.
moment. Give me 2 seconds. I'm changing a character.
Because we're currently streaming partially to raise money for the Alzheimer's research fund. So we're gonna drop a link in the chat really quick. If you are feeling generous, please do consider clicking that link and making a donation there.
The link.
Excellent. There's the link. Okay. Woo. My duty is done. Let's move on. Vic.
Okay, so Vic
approach.
Vic is probably gonna round the corner or whatever with arms full of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Around the time that you guys are talking about Bevan and Matthew and
Kevin
and Kevin, and we'll go. They were. I mean, if they were part of my my seminar.
Sorry, what now?
On werewolf hunting.
Yeah,
I did a seminar.
You're
and mini retreat.
I recall.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's it.
and Kevin went, and Bevan and Matthew, and I believe one
Yep.
or two others perhaps.
No,
And
the
did
other two
they?
didn't show up.
No, just
So
them.
did they? Over the course of this training, trip and fall into a vat of glue and mink fur, or are they changed?
I mean, all forms of training change you.
Cute, Vic. You know what the hell I mean.
You hunt vampires. You rehabilitate
I hunt-
vampires. Werewolves.
I hunt shape changers and werewolves primarily.
Yeah. You're the one who knows what to look for in the curse,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So
There is a requirement for the level of hunting that I and also now Bevan, Matthew, and Kevin do.
and that includes getting a little wolfish.
Vic looks visibly uncomfortable. Is with like a 0 on an insight check, you can tell that she's kind of looking for an exit right now. Just like,
Do you want to talk about this not in the middle of the hall?
yeah. I have to go drop these off at the forge. And then she walks away.
I feel like this is a conversation I should probably be a part of. Sven, why don't you go and double check what's going on with the camp, and meet me back here in, let's say, an hour. Man, once the teleportation circle is fully established, this will be so much more convenient.
Yeah. So do we wait until somebody fetches Bevan and Matthew and then go into the forge to talk to Vic?
Are
I
you
figured-
waiting, or are you going immediately? M?
I don't. Echo's not going to chase after Vic immediately because she seems really uncomfortable. So he's cool waiting until we get the two little king's cousins and then
Sure.
going.
So they come through the teleportation circle, and kind of, and we'll say that Kevin Bonewolf himself is not able to make it. He's got other duties, but Bevan and Matthew will show up, and they are quietly bickering in Dwarvish about which one of them offended you. And what they did, they're not clear on who is upset. They just feel like they're in trouble, and they are bickering about, you shouldn't have, and it's a little bit of a back and forth as they approach.
Boys?
Sorcerer?
Oh, so you are boys. Good to know.
Hi. Good to see you guys are still doing good after, craziness the last couple of days.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I feel great. I barely feel it if I get cut by a blade anymore. It's pretty great.
Really? Show me.
Vic is just
show
gonna
you?
pop her head up and say nothing. And then panic again.
Calder's is looking him dead in the eye, he's looking like, I know, I'm tired. I don't want to play.
Okay, here's what I need. I need intimidation checks from both Calder and Vic. Vic, you get advantage because you are in a position of authority. Calder, I know that your modifier is much better, so this is going to be fun. Okay, that's a 16 and a 19. So, they look at Vic, who's say nothing, and they look at Calder, who's
who is like, I have the ability of turning you inside out.
So do I.
And-
Listen.
Finally, Matthew just blurts out, So I think I'm kind of part werewolf now.
Okay.
What? Wait, hold
Like
on.
I don't
Let's go grab Vic
well,
for
hold on,
this.
hold on. I don't feel like I have to eat anybody. I don't feel like I have to like howl at the moon or anything, but like I'm pretty sure like I am able to.
Calder puts a hand in front of his face.
And he well, so he attempts to do a thing, but all that happens are his hands turn into paws.
I have a couple of very important questions.
Why does it keep doing this?
Get that looked at.
You know, Vic's an expert on werewolf. Should we go talk to her about this?
He'll look up at Vic, knowing that he's being a disappointment right now.
Vic is hyperventilating in the closet. Like, she has pulled out a paper bag and it's just like hunched over and it's like
It'll go away on its own after a while.
2 very important questions. I need you to answer them honestly. 1. Has this been going on since before the last full moon?
Yeah, like not long before, but yeah, definitely before.
Like 2 days before.
Yeah. Good. That means whatever you have isn't what we're worried about. Beyond that, I don't really care. Secondly, were you instructed by someone to not spread this around?
Bevan will start to speak, but Bathu will just like bat him on the back of the head. Go deal with your paws. So, spread what exactly? Like, we were told not to tell other people about what we were doing.
That's all I need to know. I can put the rest together myself. I also believe that you're not I can also agree and advise that you're not an immediate threat to anyone around you.
Echo is trying to clock Barnabas's reaction to all of this.
Turns to Barnabas. Your Highness, I do not believe that we have anything to fear from these two in any immediate sense.
Anyone who's paying attention to Barnabas's reaction, go ahead and give me a insight. Amazing.
That'd be a 27. Fuck yeah.
Amazing.
I'm 19.
Okay. So both of you are able to see that he is, again, just exasperation level infinity at this point.
Like internally screaming.
Yes. And with a 27, yeah, but also their family though. And
So
like
he's having warring instincts about all of
also
this.
and also like despite the fact that they're being very dumb right now, they were instrumental. They were instrumental in bringing us information that we needed. We would not have found the enemy if it hadn't been for these two and Kevin. And he'll just say, and he'll turn to Vic, who is in the corner, and Kevin as well. Yes?
it's like an imperceptible nod as she's like currently engaging in self-soothing.
Echo will go over and cast Calm Emotions on Vic to stave off a panic attack.
And you two...
Full-blown panic attack.
So, to be clear, you two did this willingly. Yes, this was not something that was done to you. And they'll nod their assent. And you feel that this has made you more effective. And they'll give their assent as well. And you are monitoring them very closely. He'll say to Vic.
Vic is just like, yes.
And as you would say, they are they're going through their rehab. Yes.
I think they're training to be rehab workers.
Yeah, yes. They are.
Okay.
Plan B. Cool. We have a plan B.
Rehab
We can't cure everyone.
Excellent.
Does it?
He'll look down. He'll look down at the two of them and say, "All right, you two. need to carry in your bags silver manacles at all times. Kevin must also carry them in his bag, because if one of you ends up having a difficult time in the next full moon, we need to be able to restrain you.
Yeah. Barnabas, they were under no such restraints during the last full moon.
Is it?
And they did not kill us. They did not hurt us or anyone in their surroundings. I do not believe that what they have is the same as what we are fighting.
Oh. This is... And he points at the symbol that Vic wears. This is a saloon thing, not a Malar thing.
Yes.
All right.
We-
I only wish
I-
that someone would think to tell me these things ahead of time before we end up in a large-scale combat and having to depend on people who might end up, perhaps,
Vic is gonna be like,
becoming homicidal.
Now, Your
So-
Highness, far be it from me to decide how you discipline your family members.
What does Vic do?
Vic is like, so I said that there was a solution and a way that it could work, and you said, that's fine. Do what you need to do. And I said, I'm only gonna do it for volunteers. And you're like, I'll ask for volunteers. And then only 3 people showed up. Why are you mad?
I think shocked is more the emotion right now.
Lesson learned, I suppose. Ask for more detail next time. Message received.
And for the time being, let's hold off on making any more trainees, yeah?
Which brings us back to
Oh,
the
I have
several...
people knocking down the door to do some fucking woods magic. She mumbled like shit that there's like knocked on a door to do some, and then it's just like very quiet mumbling.
I'm pretty sure Vic just said blood magic, and I think I'm just gonna stop paying attention.
Right? It's, do you want details or do you not want to know the details? Oh shit, was this the thing that you and Kretha were like being all hush-hush about?
White, just
And
Oh,
calm
shit.
emotions runs out because it only lasts for a minute.
Vic does not have pale fucking skin. She does now.